Hey, what's up, everybody? This is our brand new episode with Torry Terry. He's author, executive producer, just overall, he does it all. He does it all, and he's got an awesome story to tell. We made a mistake by not pressing record. That was our bad. Sorry, we're still learning this. It's only us two, so don't hang us. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, we're gonna fast forward to a little bit into 20, maybe 10 to 15 minutes into the this episode, and pretty much just him explaining kind of talk a little bit about himself. But yeah, so again, just fast forward into this, and hope you enjoy.
Multiple stream magazines. We've been around, man, and right now we're heading to actually making a documentary into a movie. So
Wow.
I went from writing books to writing scripts.
Dang. That's
So
huge.
so you're with your stepdad. Your stepdad is your your influence. Is there anything you can tell us about who he is and what's the selling point of your book and eventually your movie, your documentary?
Okay, my stepdad was one of the original gangsters out of Miami in the late 80s when cocaine hit the block.
Mm.
You know, he was in equivalence to, I don't know, are you guys familiar with the movie American Gangster?
Yes.
Oh yeah, with
Frank
Denzel?
Lucas. Frank Lucas, right?
Lucas story?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, they told Frank Lucas' story after he took over for Bumpy Johnson and became the big guy. But nobody never told Frank Lucas' story when he was the lieutenant for Bumpy Johnson. My stepdad always said that it's never the boss that people are afraid of. It's the people the boss kept around them. They was the real gangsters.
Okay.
And my stepdad's story, like they put 2 contracts out to have my stepdad killed. And he went to the boss. He went to the boss every time and got them to stop it.
Wow.
And then at one time, somebody stole his car and he flew back in from Tallahassee to Miami. Him and 4 other people, I still got the newspaper clippings. They after they did what they did, they ended up going to jail and was facing 3 life sentences and 75 years mandatory.
Whoa.
And yeah, for 16 capital offenses. Everything
Wow.
ranging from kidnapping to attempted murder. And how all 5 of them beat those charges was it was one dude that was in the jail with my stepdad, and my stepdad stood up for the dude. And when the dude came and acknowledged him for it, and it was like, he appreciated what he was in for, my stepdad told him, and he said, I get out in 2 weeks. You ain't even got to worry about them showing up in court.
Wow.
So he said, all right, they handled that did. And
That's crazy. So how long was he in prison?
My stepdad been in and out of prison back then.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't been back in 30 years now.
Yeah.
When he decided to lead a game and stuff, that was like 30 years ago. He just walked away from it all. Came out and started a family, not started a family, but came into a family, because I was around 13 years old, 14 when he came in the house. And he told me how to stand up like a man. He ain't never bring none of that game room to us because I ended up becoming a correctional officer.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. How did that happen? Was any of that influenced by from your stepdad?
No. It was just he always showed us the right thing to do. He was always showing us the hustle. Here, go to these warehouses right here. These warehouses where you can get this and that toys from, and blah blah blah. We're gonna get back to the community. These the back streets, so where they be getting all this stuff out in stores, and he showed us how to go in the streets and hustle what we had.
That's that streetology degree.
Streetology 101.
Wow.
Okay. So at 13 years old. Okay. So what actually made you to go into that field of being a correctional officer? Like what kind of caught interest of that to go into it?
That's a funny story.
Well, we're all good for funny stories, man.
I was actually in Atlanta, going to school at Atlanta Technical College to be a dental hygienist.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I was actually wanted to do dental. But then some things happened, and we ended up losing the house that we had up there, and we all had to come back to Miami, and I didn't have nowhere else to go. So I had to follow them down back to Miami. Got to Miami, and I tried to get back in school to try to finish up on the credits, and they was like, this don't transfer, that don't transfer. They wanted me to start
I hate
over.
that when they do that.
So I was leaving the school at 5 p.m. when everything should have been shut down, and I seen a bunch of people dressed up and they church closed. So I asked them. I had a jungle juice and a donut in my hand. So I told them, I say, hey, what y'all waiting on? They said, we're waiting for the doors to open. And when the doors opened, the dude stopped me at the door. He was like, why you not dressed? I took a bite of my donut, shrugged my shoulders, and said, He said, all right, man, come on in anyway. And that's when I found out about corrections.
Okay.
Wow.
Donuts and a juice.
Yeah. Well, without leaving, I want to go into this a little bit more, but I want to spend just a little bit more time with your book, and when your dad said that he wanted to tell his story, he was ready, and then you decided that you wanted to tell that story, or how did that work?
So what I ended up doing was, since, like I say, he only had the 6th grade education, I created a style of writing to where he recorded his story and I put the story to paper. So once I put the story to paper and everything, that's how the book got formulated.
Wow.
Created. So, and the crazy part about that was when I did it and I had my very first radio interview, because I'm going to tell you how people are, and I'm going to tell you why you should never give up on your goals when you set them. I had my first interview, and the guy asked me, he said, how long did it take you to write the book? And I was honest with him. I told him 2 months.
Wow.
The comments blew up. You're not a real author. You people have 7 years with their craft, 12 years with their craft, and they were blowing it up. But I don't listen to people. That's one thing I always learned about life. I never look down. I always look up. So everything that's commenting and this, that, and the third, hey, all fans are good fans.
Yeah. True.
Negative and positive, you're still a fan.
Yeah.
So, I kept my mind on my goal. And I said, I know this is going to be a movie one day, and I know we're going to turn this into a documentary. And as it's showing me, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, because the goal was already in place. I had the vision already set in my mind that I knew this was going to be great things. If anything doesn't have a vision in me, I won't get involved in it. You know what I'm saying? I got to see it. And if people don't see your vision, don't worry. You can find those like-minded people who will.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's fact, man. That's fact.
So did you? Is the documentary done, or you are doing it?
The documentary is done. It's on a platform called TividTV, TIVID TV, and people can actually go there and actually see it now.
Oh wow! How long? What's that called?
It's been out for a month now.
It's been out for a month. Okay. So how long was that process to do that documentary alone? How long did that take? Because you said you executive produced it too, right?
Yes. For that, it's been like maybe 2 years.
2 years. Okay. That took some
2
time.
years, because the editing, the editing phases and all of that type of stuff there, it can be quite lengthy. The shooting was quick.
Okay.
But the editing, it took
a while.
Time. Yes.
Okay.
What's the name of the documentary?
It's called OL. That stands for Opalaka.
Okay. Okay.
So what's I've heard that term. So can you explain of what Opalaka means, or for people that don't know that are watching this on video and audio or listening to it on audio?
All right. Opalaka is a city in Miami. It was one of those notorious cities that was back then that had a street in that city called Alabama, which was like Killer Ave. You used to smell dead bodies walking up and down that street all day long. It was a real death hole, death trap style of living. And Opalaka is where a lot of things happen in Opalaka. You know what I'm saying? And you talk about like the cocaine cowboys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Casablanca and stuff like that. People didn't realize that, they came over here with the work. The blacks had to show them how to manipulate the streets. And once they learned that, they just took off, and then they started their own communities and this, that, and the third. But we navigated the land for them, and they just took over and took off.
Damn.
But they had all the work.
That's crazy. Man, I never, all this is interesting. I mean, it's like this movie, if it ever comes out, I definitely want to watch it. I mean, you're making it all sound interesting. Like if this does get put up on a big motion picture film, hey man, sign me up.
Hey, you watch the documentary right now, brother.
Right, I know, definitely. I'll have to tune in for that for sure.
It's dope, man. You can hear, you can see like his life story is like something I've never heard before in a gangster film, and I'm a gangster film watcher.
You
What's
know, your favorite one?
Like right now, I have tops. Like I like American Gangster. I am a Godfather. I like the Godfather. I am Scarface, most definitely, even though it was a fictional, even though it was a fictional version of Miami, but in a sense. But this will be, and this one right here is going to be one of the realest films that ever come out of Miami when it comes to that era, because he knew everybody.
Yeah.
And when he hit the block, it was like Debo was coming in town. Get out of the way stuff.
Debo.
His name actually stopped a lot of stuff, stopped a lot of people from getting killed. Wow. When they said his name, it made people stop in their boots and go the other way.
No kidding. Wow. And then he made that transition out of the game too, which is what I mean, I want to say, I know, but what made him want to get out of the game?
He got tired of the first thing that happened to him was when he was in Opalaka, and the big man in Opalaka, was the first man that actually wanted him dead. But how that ended up happening was he ended up moving on that man's territory in Opalaka, and he slapped all his gangsters and made all his gangsters sit on their hands while he sold his dope in their hole.
Like that.
I'm telling you, man.
What a savage.
So they all went back to the big man in that city, and the big man was so mad and said he was putting a contract out to have him killed. And the way that this guy do contracts, he fly people in. And then fly them back out the same day. So my stepdad went circling around his mansion all night long. And then he had somebody to call him up and tell him, come outside, because I'm going to knock his head right off his body. So the big dude went on ahead, met him behind the tracks, and they became bonded together. Now, while they was bonded together, a situation happened where my stepdad felt like somebody was just following. He kept seeing the same person in the same area everywhere that they was going. So he left everything alone, and he had got a visit by the feds while he was pumping gas. And they told him, if we ever catch you around this certain individual, we gonna hide you. So my stepdad stayed away until the big man came to him like, hey man, where you been at, Chilliy Willie, man? And, you know, you need to come around. He said, hey, listen, let me tell you this. Them people told me that they gonna hide my ass if I'm around you. And the big man told him, man, let them crackers kill you, man. He said, what? I want to be here for my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids. I ain't got what you talking about. You go ahead and drive off with all that. And he left that area and went to another area. And when that area started, you know, they say when people start getting killed in the area, it just kills the whole game room. And he say his mama told him that they were talking about they drug hole in the church. And that's when he said it was time for him to go. So he just exited on. He said, you don't tell nobody to move when you're moving and when you're finna go. You just leave.
Wow. So when it made it to the church, it was time to go.
It was time to go.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that. Shoot, I lost my train of thought.
I'm kind of really interested in like the first moves you made to get this documentary going. Like, what would you say was probably the most difficult part into making that first move to go that route? Because writing a book is one thing, right? Like just figuring all this out on your own is definitely a challenge, right? Just to really find how do you start doing that, or how to make the moves to even start with that. What would you say so far has been the hardest thing to do to get to this point where you're at right now? The one that had you like thinking the most, trying to figure out like, okay, how do I connect this dot to this one to, you know, keep this going, to get to the bigger picture of making this a movie, you know, that you will see in theaters at one day.
I I think I like that better. What made it was the most difficult part for me was probably finding the directors and the production companies who were willing to take it on.
Okay, okay.
And
So
what's
it's
that
like all of that stuff was through like connections,
Okay.
you know.
What-
So like,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask, what is that like, trying to find someone who sees your vision and says, "Hey, I'm down to work with that."
Okay. First, the Google pointed me to finding the literary agent. Okay, the literary agents, I called all their companies up, and nobody wanted to work with me because they said that they don't accept unsolicited material. After 26 no's, the last one that was gonna hang up, I told him, I said, "Hey, hold on, wait. Before you hang up the phone, tell me why can't I tell you about what project that I have?" They say, "Well, if you want me to be honest with you, you just can't call here and get in like that. Somebody has to bring you in." I say, "Oh." I said, "Well, why y'all got y'all number over here in y'all company? Like y'all reach out to like somebody could email you or something like that." They say, "Hey, well, it's just how the business works." So after that, I bumped into a radio. I had a radio interview with a lady named Tanisha Simpkins, and she was a producer and a PR.
Okay.
So when I got with her as a PR, she knew directors. So she got me connected in with my first director with his own filming company.
Nice.
And that's how I ended up getting into the game room. It was through a PR who knew somebody in the film industry and got us in the door.
After 26 no's.
After 26 no's.
Wow. Dude, that good job. Good hustle on that one.
Just keep on going, you know. No,
how many people would have quit? You know what I mean?
Definitely
quit after what, 2 or 3?
2 or 3, straight up.
Wow.
It's that's one thing that's only key individuals have to really proceed with it and trying to say by any means necessary, I'm going to get to the objective, and it is what it is. And that's cool, man. I see that.
Hey, did I read somewhere that your stepdad Chilliy Willie had was running a record label back in the day?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
but he had a area in Carol City that he called Base Station.
That's Base Station.
Now Base Station was also a club ran by infamous dude named Roberto. He was a big icon in the music industry, and his club name came from Chilliy Willie and his gang spot called Base Station. They let him use that name for that club.
Okay. So the influence came from that.
Base Station. Oh, I like that. Okay, cool.
So any big prominent names that were tied with that, like with the music alone in that, like is there any like little history you can share with us about Base Station and kind of what affiliations it had with that in the music? Because I think I've watched a little bit of this one clip where they were talking about how that there were certain influences that came from that are still kind of were relevant up until that point, to a certain point, in regards to the music alone coming from Miami at that point.
Well, they say a lot of DJs back then had the bass.
The bass.
And I ain't talking about it. I ain't talking about the speakers.
Oh, okay. For some reason, that's what I thought. Like the bass is the music. Okay.
I ain't talking about the speakers. A lot of them back then moved like that.
Okay.
And some of the other things that, like the Cuban link chains. Okay. Before what that was, 95. That wasn't the proper name for them. They were called dog chains back then.
Okay.
It was from a rapper, a Spanish rapper, who thus then gave the name Cuban link chains. That's
interesting.
Yeah. And from that, and also, the gold teeth.
Oh, like the grills?
Yeah, that was not a fashion statement. Those were trophies. Every gold teeth was a robbery. It was bad you did.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. Damn, learning stuff new every day. That's crazy. Okay.
Wow. Only
Yep.
only on the Beyond Expectation podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
people.
See, people weren't expecting
Okay,
that.
so one thing that Eddie and I go into a lot is conspiracies. And one big conspiracy we hear regarding crack and black communities is that CIA planted CIA crack in the black communities in the 80s. Is there any truth to that you guys maybe have seen that Chilliy Willie knows?
There is no truth in that.
No
That
truth.
stuff was coming in by the boatload.
Okay.
There was heads of mafias and heads of Colombians who ran all of that. And it was on the bottom of boats. It was coming in by the boatload. And people were stealing other people's stuff too and breaking it down and selling it in the streets. The thing was, when they were stealing it, it was so pure they had to break it down to make it less because it was killing off their people.
Mhm.
Yeah, I believe that. That's crazy.
But it wasn't planned. It was brought over here.
Okay. So do you know about when it was first brought over? Was it in Miami or was it New York, or do you know?
That part I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
But word spread quick.
Yeah,
That part I don't know. I wasn't around back then to see none of that.
Yeah.
But,
for sure.
Okay.
it's just the story of how it was just everywhere back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially in the 80s and 90s, I feel like that was like the era where it was just everywhere. Like they said, like, what was that myth they were saying? Like in every $100 bill, you would find residue, like Coke residue on those $100 bills,
yeah.
supposedly, something like that. I didn't know for like, is that, can you confirm? Like, I mean, would you know if that was like a really like a factual fact that was true? Like you would find Coke on that?
Question.
Never asked that question.
Yeah, I never asked that question.
All right, so that's cool. That's a lot of interesting stuff that I think Eddie and I had never even heard of before.
Yeah, no, I'm getting schooled up right now, man. I'm telling you. Like I see a lot of documentaries about this stuff, but it's like a lot of this stuff is like, damn, I didn't know that.
But we haven't seen enough come out of Miami. I mean, it's always like it's East Coast, right? Always New York, New Jersey kind of stuff. Yeah, but we don't. I mean, other than Scarface, we haven't really seen Miami get too loud. Even though all of us, I mean, Coke and Miami is basically synonymous. You know?
Yeah, literally. That's what that was tied to. Yeah.
But the stories have just not been as loud as the others. So yeah, that would be that's really awesome that you're making that story loud. That at least people can know some origins and hear some of that history. So as a correctional officer, what is that like? I mean, you're going in and I want to say, so you have a YouTube channel called Hey Inmate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that based on some of the stuff that you
Yes.
see, or yeah?
Yes,
All right, tell us some of that about a little bit of that.
If you actually want to know, the white guy Tobias is actually me.
the guy that nobody wants to be like. Is that
exactly?
Don't be okay. Okay.
Tobias.
It's I didn't know it was gonna blow up that big. I have like correction officers from Ohio, South Carolina, Texas, just all over the place. They chiming in. Oh man, y'all got a Tobias down there too, over there too. It's crazy.
Yeah, Tobias. Okay, so with I've had I in my life I've had family that has been. I had one uncle. My mom married a guy, and he had a brother who was in prison for life without parole, and we would hear all kinds of prison stories. And then I also have a number of friends have been correctional officers. So we have a prison up here in our parts. We're north of Seattle, and we have a Monroe Penitentiary up here. And I know some people that come out of there, and they have some of the craziest stories. Like one story that I got from my my mom's husband's brother, whatever uncle. If they wanted to mess with the correctional officers, there were some, things that went down. Everybody would stuff whatever they could in their toilets and then just start hitting the water to where it would flood from the third second floor, and it would just rain toilet water raining down on everybody. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Luckily, we ain't got that many floors. Luckily, we've had people flood.
Yeah.
We've had people flood.
Okay.
Luckily, we ain't have that many floors. We see it from a distance.
What's that liquor that the inmates make?
Oh, Buck.
Buck?
Buck. Okay. What? And that's like what, fermented whatever?
Fermented fruits that they steal out the chow hall.
And have you ever tasted it?
Ugh, no. Just the smell of it alone.
Oh shit!
But they be drunk as I don't know what.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, they're slamming that stuff down like it's no tomorrow. I bet.
They do it. They be super. Wee.
So in the prison, is any of that stuff like what you see on these reality shows where like 60 Days In or whatever?
Yeah, I watched that shit. Yeah, so that's where I got my knowledge from. Like watching shows like that. That's the closest that I'll ever like. Damn, shit goes down like that.
Well, see, that's jail.
Okay.
I'm at the prison.
Okay.
So yeah, it go down like that.
Okay.
And the people in the prison that you're there, is this like a maximum or is this a minimum security?
They go all the way up to close, just before maximum.
Okay. Okay. So you got lifers in there then.
Correct.
Okay. Man,
that's real. Yeah.
How do you handle that stress with the family?
With my family.
Yeah, because
right.
The correctional officers I know, it drove all of them nuts, and they had to get out.
Yeah, if you don't watch your mental health, it will creep up on you. There's a real big thing, because people don't understand. We are around con artists and people that's doing all the wrong things all the time, and we have to adjust our minds to be smarter than the killer, smarter than the rapist, smarter than the child molester, smarter than the con artist. To have all of those different type of thoughts in your head so that you can be one step ahead, it can be mentally draining. This job is 98% mental and only 2% physical. And that 2% only happens every random. It's not no everyday thing, like it's just all the time. But if we don't keep this in check, because we have to be so on top and so alert. This is the reason why in the police field, in the law enforcement field, this is the reason why one of the ways we act the way we act. Because nobody comes to us and be like, hey, let's have a party. No, you call us when there's a problem. If you only get called for problems, how are you going to expect to react good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That's true.
Right.
And that's a very interesting you say that because, like I said, I watch all those shows, right? 60 Day In and all that stuff. I don't think not once have I ever heard them say anything about it taking like a huge mental toll on them. Like given that they're probably saying like, it is kind of like a, it's always a different day every day when they go in there and do their job. And it's always, you got to stay on all 10 to make sure like, you're watching like every single thing because something can pop off and it could be, that's it, But to say that, aside from that, though, you have to adapt to every single different types of like, I guess you could say personalities or mindsets to be able to be one step ahead of that individual, which is like, I never, I guess, heard it from that perspective, which is really interesting because you're right. Like, you have to be there in presence to, in case there's an issue, to be able to control that issue as well. So you're always kind of like on the go, like, on that, in that go mode, That's crazy.
Fact.
That's crazy.
How long do you plan on sticking with correctional officer?
Until the right bag hits.
Yeah, baby.
Which is soon.
I've been doing it for 15 years.
15
I've been doing it
years.
for 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just when that right bag hit and they say this movie is a goal, here's your bag. Bye-bye.
Later.
I'm going full throttle in a different direction.
Okay. Do you see a lot of like how is the see if I can say the word right, recidivism rate?
Okay.
Do you see a lot of return inmates, or is there actually some correctional like are these people getting the tools necessary or the support they need so that they don't reoffend?
Okay.
Glasses are off, people.
Glasses are off.
Let's get it real now.
it's about to get real. You know, it wasn't at one point, but now there's a thing going on where, let me see how I say this without. There's a thing now where they can't be out of prison too long away from their man's in prison.
Oh, they've developed relationship. They develop feelings, right?
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo.
Okay.
This is what's making the most of them come back.
Wow.
Before we didn't have this issue. There wasn't that many. Now recidivism is we're working on it now. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of people that they go for like small petty crimes, but they normally do the rest of their probation because they have to still be on papers with the state for like some of them like 6 months, some of them like a year after they get out. So they still have to be good unless they'll come straight back to prison. They'll skip jail. But it's not high. It's not a very high number.
Well, that's good.
There are a lot of good outreach programs and stuff out there for them to utilize. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay, so it's just the feelings that keep them coming back.
It's them feeling catching.
Wow.
Catch feelings, man. That's
Times
okay.
have changed,
Interesting.
my man.
That's great. So the other day, actually, we were messaging just to make sure we were aligned for this episode, and you were actually saying that you were at a what we call it here? I'm just looking through the message to make sure I don't butcher this name.
IGN Film Festival.
Nice.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, how was that? And what did it all entail?
Oh, that was dope. They called me to come down to be on their writers panel. So I was on the writers panel with a couple of other guys like Sam G and Eric. You know, there's some big time writers too, big time African American writers, and we got up there and we really spoke some real stuff about writing and the process, and as far as like, you know, sticking to it and, you know, really never letting it die, never let nothing die. They asked us questions about, you know, how do we handle writer's block and stuff like that. And, you know, for me, you know, passion and enthusiasm always pushes me through all of my adversity. So I really, when it happens, I just take a little small break and stuff like that. But we had a real nice conversation. It was a, you know, master panel. So we broke it down. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's cool.
What was the thing that was going on over in London? Was that the documentary? Yes,
that was the documentary.
Wow. How did you end up with it in London?
Through the film festival. There's a Film Freeway where you can upload your movie, a documentary, and then you just pay each film festival to submit your work into it, and they have a judge and panel. And if you get picked to win, you know, they fly you over, you get your little your award and stuff like that. The problem with that time was COVID.
Of course.
Stopped us, but we won in London.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
And after winning in London, we won at the International of Anabar and Nicobar film festivals. I had a couple scripts out there that got nominated. We were finalists in a New York Film Festival. You know, just pretty much building the cloud up behind the films in the project.
Oh man, so you're actually getting some major traction with this. That's awesome, man.
Yep, all on my own.
That's awesome, dude. That's respect on that, man. It's and like I said, and it's so crazy though, right, Brett? When we say that we do this on our own, we're actually, it's only me and my boy here doing this podcast alone as well. You know, from the editing, uploading, all this other stuff, interacting with our listeners on Instagram and all that. And it's like, you know, with you just telling us up until now, right, with what you've done from executive producer, writer, all that, I'm sure you're just overwhelmed with all this work to do. But it's like you're seeing all this kind of like pan out to where, like you said, you won a couple awards at some film festivals. You must feel good knowing that, like, dang, I'm actually making some headway, and knowing that I'm gonna get to this bigger picture to where obviously the movie, and it, you know, I know it's gonna work out for you because you see this hard work being put in, and it's cool to meet people like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's I can't express enough that it's so dope, man, to hear that, because it's like an examples, right? For other people to do this stuff. Like you don't need to, rely on such and such to do this stuff. Like you can do it yourself, and literally you're an example, straight up.
You can. You absolutely can. And on top of this, I've been giving back to the community. Like Hurricane Ian hit over there, and I was able to make a call and get like 4 pallets of water, cases of water sent over there, like 468 cases of water. Wow. A bunch of ready to make food for them. The MREs, like 2,400 or something packets of those sent over there. And now we getting with the police departments and doing a community outreach from the Department of Corrections standpoint, where we're getting in the streets and we're giving back. And on top of giving back, I started another podcast with another buddy of mine called Beers, Burgers, and Bros.
Beers, Burgers, and Bros. I love it.
Everywhere.
That's awesome. Okay.
Everywhere.
So when you're doing all this, you have a family, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you find time to spend with your family?
Communication. Communication. Once we have it set up where it's like, okay, this is what I plan on doing. Are you okay with this? We come in agreement, and then we're like, okay, it's going to be some days where it's going to be like this, but if we set aside this time and that time and this day, are you okay with that? And then the understanding comes into a factor, and then once it's like that, then it's like move.
Yeah,
definitely. I think that's actually important too, that a wifey's on board with it as well, so that you're both on the same page with it, because I mean it takes time, and I definitely understand from that aspect too, especially because you're always probably, I'm assuming, always on the road doing this and that, and trying to get to certain places to make these things happen. So it's I definitely feel you on that, man. That's 100% communication, just being real on it. Yeah, that's great.
I just flew to California to go see Big Herc, to do an interview with him over there with the Straight Out of Prison talk with my stepdad, and flew right back. Like,
wow, man, you're on the go for sure.
Go.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So what is the next step then? Now you have your book, you have your documentary, you've got all these, these things going on. What's next?
The movie.
The movie. Yeah. So are you like raising funds? Are you already shooting or still writing, or?
As it stands right now, I did the pitch deck, and I found a literary agent who has the pitch deck in their hands now. And there's a couple of companies who are looking for something to film. So I'm just waiting on her to get back with me, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I know it's gonna happen, man. I know it's gonna happen.
So,
man, that'll be so dope to watch that. In the hey, come on in. Let's watch it.
Yeah,
we'll
watch
it.
Yeah, he'll be like, yeah, we know that guy.
I'm gonna have to make a trip to y'all city.
Oh yeah, man. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Down in Seattle, you would. I'm sure you'd get a lot of support down there.
For sure, man. For sure. So if you could, let's put it out there, right? If you could put a director behind it, and a front runner up star to play your dad, who would you pick, or who would you want to like see up there, telling that story from that point?
Oh man, if you want to be honest with me,
yeah,
let's see. First of all, I can see myself. I guess I can see myself doing it. I got some little acting skills.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But, yeah, I can see myself doing that. And as far as directors go, I know a director down here that can handle that, and his name is Dustin Fairbanks.
Okay.
I know he can handle it, because you try to find people who are in that genre of doing movies. You won't find no cartoonist director to shoot a gangster film. It's just not. But there's a guy that's from Fort Lauderdale who knows the city, and I know he can do it.
Nice.
Okay. He'll be that guy.
Okay.
Cool.
And also,
you would possibly be Chilliy Willie.
Chilliy Willie.
I'll possibly be Chilliy Willie.
Wow, that would be dope. That'd be dope.
That'd be awesome.
I know his mannerisms and everything, you know what I'm saying? So I could edit.
Yeah. Wow. That would be, I'd love that.
That's awesome. So would this be kind of like a theatrical release, or are you doing it like kind of straight from direct to consumer? Because I know that's like a big thing to where
everything is going streaming, like so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is streaming so fast. It's all about the distribution. You know, not if, when it comes out and it hits some big time numbers, you know, you can go to the streaming platforms and ask them for what you want. So it'd be like, you need to go big film if, you know, they're gonna give you 100 million off rip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you just have to know the market and know, you know, once you be putting it out there, how it's gonna go.
So I'm just curious too, as well. Have you vlogged any of like the process of like how you got up to this point to kind of show, you know, like what work it takes to really do something at this level, you know, from doing a book, finding publishing, or creating your own publishing like you've done so, and then making a documentary, but now you're actually picking up a script so they can be made into a movie? Because I think that itself is like, a lot of people are probably, you know, at that beginning state where they want to do something similar like this, right? But they don't have the tools or know an individual that's doing something like that. It's almost kind of in the same where you're looking up a video on YouTube on how to do this, but you can't find a specific video on like what you're actually wanting to do. And it's always rare to find those like certain things to where like, oh, okay, that's actually what I'm looking for. Now I just need to watch this so I can learn and absorb all that knowledge. So you don't vlog any of that?
I write it down.
Write it down? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I write it down. Okay. I got some of the stuff, you know, like radio interviews and things like that. But I write everything down.
Okay.
Your stepdad still go by Chilliy Willie today?
He still go by Chilliy Willie today.
Okay. Where's Chilliy Willie at tonight?
He's at home, probably sleep.
Yeah.
He's at home, probably sleep.
Nice. Yeah. No,
if he was on here, you guys would have had a blast, because some of the stories he could tell y'all.
I bet.
Well, maybe one day we'll wait for your movie to come out, and if we can talk him into it, talk you into bringing him on. Oh, we'd love to have a conversation with him.
Yeah,
too.
that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
But I mean, honestly, this has been a great conversation for us. I mean, this is we learned a lot of stuff that we didn't know, and you dispelled the CIA rumor. I always thought the CIA planted crack. You know,
that's what they always say. What we've heard, you know, obviously that conspiracy that's been tossed out there.
Theory, exactly.
Yeah. But to clear the airways, right? That's pretty much. That's not true.
I have no knowledge.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So where can people get you if they want to connect with you? They want to see what you're doing and get your book, get the documentary, all that. Watch the documentary. How can they get a hold of you?
Hey, they can follow me on Instagram at I am Torry Terry. If you click the link in the bio, it actually sends you to the documentary.
Perfect.
And as far as the book goes, it's The Locks Hated On with a Smile, and it's on Amazon.
Ready to go. Yeah, and it's by the way, it's got some good reviews too, so people like it, and it's up there. So I mean, I saw it on Amazon as well, so definitely a good read from what the comments say. So check it out, peeps. Definitely, and we'll plug all that info in as well on our description when this drops on our YouTube page. So they'll definitely have a direct link to take you to your stuff and, you know, all that. So yeah, man.
Yeah, got you, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Thank you, Torry, for spending the time with us and taking time out of your evening. What time is it over there anyway?
10:51.
10:51. Man, on a Saturday night.
Yeah, on a Saturday
night.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I'm going up the road. I gotta go put my uniform on and go right into the job.
Oh, okay.
To work. Okay. Okay.
I told them I was gonna be 2 hours late. They gotta wear that.
Okay. We honestly appreciate you taking your time out and doing this with us. This is awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, anyone listening, please check my man out, Torry Terry. I am Torry Terry on Instagram, and check his bio out. Read the book, watch the documentary, and stay engaged. And leave him some comments. Let him know what you think about what he's doing, and you know, show him some support. You guys, that's some good stuff, and we're just so thankful to have you on.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate it.
With all that being said, go check our past previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that stuff. You'll find us wherever you stream your favorite podcast, and also check us out on YouTube, Beyond Expectation Podcast, and on Instagram, Beyond Expectation Podcast. Till then, we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Be safe out there. Peace.